Within days of Bob Crane's murder, police believe the killer is his close friend John Carpenter. They think Carpenter flew into a rage because Crane was about to end their friendship. The strongest evidence, blood found in Carpenter's rental car matching Bob Crane's blood type. But two county attorneys thought the evidence was weak and they refused to put Carpenter on trial. 12 years had passed.
Look, I'm not here to criticize the 1978 investigation. Would I have done it differently? Would it have been done differently today? Absolutely.
How frustrating was it that you felt you had identified the killer and nothing was happening?
It was very, very frustrating in the beginning. It was very hard to take in the beginning.
In 1990, newly elected County Attorney Rick ROMLEY reopened the Crane case.
A lot of years had gone by, which had complicated the case. We had lost evidence.
He brought in Detective Jim Raines to take a fresh look.
And I knew I had to, go back and treat it as if it happened yesterday.
Detectives Raines and Vassell started from scratch.
We re-interviewed everybody involved in this case. We tracked down each and every person. We just basically eliminated everybody else on the planet.
All roads lead to John Carpenter.
Absolutely.
No doubt.
No doubt.
The investigation uncovered new clues. The crime scene photos of a V-shaped blood stain on Crane's bed helped detectives finally identify a murder weapon, a camera tripod.
And he laid the tripod over the bloody sheet, and the tripod from the first nubs that you tighten up for the legs to the top of the tripod was like the identical length of the blood stain on the sheet.
The wounds to Bob Crane's head matched perfectly with the tripod's steel mounting plate. The tripod seen in this photograph was missing from Crane's apartment. Investigators believe Carpenter fled the murder scene and placed the bloody tripod in the front passenger seat of his rental car, depositing the blood on the door. They also discover what they believe is a smoking gun, a crime scene photograph previously overlooked of John Carpenter's rental car. It reveals a tiny red speck that pathologists determined was tissue from Bob Crane's battered skull. The actual sample, though, was either lost or never collected.
You believe in your heart of hearts John Carpenter killed Bob Crane?
Absolutely.
No doubt.
No doubt.
When you put it all together, blood, the tissue, it had to be him. There's no other possibility.
Authorities in Torrance, California this morning arrested John Henry Carpenter while he was on his way to work.
Carpenter is arrested and charged with Bob Crane's murder. In 1994, 16 years after the killing, John Carpenter finally goes on trial. DNA science was in its infancy. Testing of the blood on Carpenter's rental car was inconclusive. Prosecutors could not prove the blood came from Bob Crane.
How big of a deal was that to you guys?
That was a big deal because it was the most crucial piece of evidence that they could have given us.
Michael Lake was the jury foreman.
If we had DNA from that car, he would have been found guilty. I'm 100% positive.
Without a DNA match, the jury found Carpenter
not guilty of murder in the first degree. Signed, foreperson, Michael E. Lake.
But they wanted the DNA. That's, in the end, we didn't have sufficient evidence to be able to get a guilty verdict.
When he was acquitted, how did you feel that day?
Just disgusted.
The justice system let the person walk.
My life is back together again after 16 years, and I'm sorry for breaking down, but it's a lot of weight off of me.
Carpenter never took the stand. A cloud of suspicion haunted him until his death 4 years later and continues to this day. 38 years after the murder of Bob Crane, we retest the DNA evidence in the case using modern DNA science. Will it prove John Carpenter was the killer?
What it may do more than anything else is verify what everybody thought all along, is he's the one that did it.
Coming up next, the results of our DNA tests in the Bob Crane murder.
Is it possible you guys chased the wrong guy for 40 years?
Sure, if it's somebody else's blood. If it's not Crane's DNA, then, we do have the wrong guy.
Everything points to John Carpenter, yet there's still a nervousness. It's just, I guess it's the nature of being a prosecutor. There's no absolute certainties in this world.